So good morning, guys. Okay, right. Guys, today's session, okay, let me come out and say the session name is sequence. Okay, come out, guys, and see sequences. What is sequence? And this sequence objects, how to create and how to use on my table columns, and the purpose of your sequences. Okay, now, right. So before I want to start what it is, first I will give some examples here. Observe. क्या हो रहा है यार वहां पर? पूरा बहुत क्लोज से बात कर रहा है. हाँ? Any secrets? Any girlfriend का related matter? वो कुछ नहीं है ना? वो जो भी सीक्रेट है बाहर जाकर बात करके आ जाओ. Go outside and talk and come here. हाँ? No ना? Okay, right. Now, so sequences. So the first question will come to you: what is sequence, and how and where I can use this sequence in my real life examples or real life applications. Okay. Nowadays, you can go to ATM machine. Through ATM machine, we are doing some transaction. Any transaction. Okay, withdraw, deposit, transfer, or even though check balance or mini statement. Any transaction you did, your with ATM machine. So finally, we are getting some slip. In that slip, can you identify transaction ID number will there? Yes or no? Yes. That ID number we created manually or system is created automatically. System is created. So we are not created. We are just doing some operation, but system is going to be created. Okay. Suppose you did one transaction. First of all, you transaction complete. You taken one transaction slip and transaction ID number is there. Immediately you're doing one more transaction. Okay. Again, transaction slip will come. And again, we are taking transaction slip. My first transaction slip and second transaction slip. There's two transaction slip ID numbers. One's check out. Both are same transaction IDs or different? Different. That means the first transaction ID generated by system automatically. Second transaction ID also generated by system automatically. So your transaction ID numbers are automatically generated by system. That's not manual. Yes or no? That is one example. Just keep it. Second example. Nowadays, we are going to be shopping malls. Okay, if you go to any big shopping malls, you purchase some products, and all of you know this. Nowadays, everything is a computerized bills. So when they will give a bill to you, there can you anybody identify? You have a bill number. Anybody identify? Yes. So now you are the first customer, and later one more customer is there. But your bill number and the next customer bill number, both are same or different? Different. But those numbers also automatically generated or manually user is generated? Automatically. How it is? That was. In the next one is, suppose you need to purchase some vehicles or any big products, electronics or something. After purchasing your product, they will give an invoice number. Anybody listen? Invoice numbers. Invoice numbers also, your invoice number, my invoice number, both are same or different? Different. So, invoice numbers, bill numbers, transaction IDs. So, these are all are automatically generated here. But how, sir? How these numbers are sequentially? For example, your bill number 31, next bill number compulsory 32 only. So without breaking your sequence, it was clearly the sequences are next by next, next by next, it will be generated. Okay, one order, one sequence order, your IDs are generated. Okay, now? Right. But how, sir? How the computer application is going to be develop your sequence numbers means that any kind of the ID which was generated by automatically, it means that there is the reason behind that. What is that? Sequences. The sequence facility, the people are applying on your table columns. Based on the sequence facility, your numbers will be automatically generated. Okay. In cases, in database application, we are using what now? Sequence object. Okay, now, so that's why what is sequence? Means sequence we called it is a one database object. Okay, it is a one database object. Okay, now, right. But this sequence, the purpose of sequence is what now here means? To generate sequence numbers, on a particular column, okay, on a particular column in a table automatically. Okay, it was going to be generating your sequence numbers on a particular column in a table automatically. Okay, now, right. So this is what the purpose of sequence. Otherwise, we can say auto incremental facility also we can say. Okay, now, by using of this object, which kind of facility we can provide? We can provide, what is that? Auto increment or incremental facility. Auto incremental facility. Okay, na? So this kind of the facility we can apply on your table columns. So there we can use what now, guys? Sequence. Okay. Now, but here, once you created a sequence object, and why we called it is one of the object means whatever you created the sequence object, this object will be saved in your database as an object. That's why it is called a database object. And once I created this object can be applied any number of tables. There is no limitations. So this object only I can use in this particular table only, yes or no? So this kind of limitations are not there. So once this object is created, that object can be applied, that facility can be applied on any number of tables in database. Okay, table 1, table 2, table 3, table 4, like any number of tables, you can apply this object facility. Okay, now, so now what we say, once we created this object, okay, it can apply on any number of tables, okay. Now, so this is what the sequence, the purpose here. So what is the main purpose of sequence here? Auto incremental facility we need to apply. So whenever this kind of facility you want it on a table, then you can apply this sequence. Okay, right. But how I can create the sequence object? Okay, now, so we have some syntax, guys, here. Okay, let me see. So create sequence, and I want to give here my sequence name. Okay, sequence object name. Okay, and later here this sequence is having some, okay, the properties here. And in the first property we called as a start with n is the first, and the second property is called as here, so min value n. Okay, and the third property we called as here, so increment by n, and the fourth property we called as here max value n, and the next property we called as no cycle or cycle. Okay, the next property we called as no cache or cache n. Okay, now, so and close this. So this is what we called as, guys, your sequence object when you want to create. So you can use this general syntax of your sequence. Okay, now we can see. So in this object, we have some parameters here. Okay, so these are some properties we called here. So let me see one by one. What is start with n? What is min value, increment, max value, no cycle, no cache, cache on cycle. So what are these? All the properties one by one, we will check it out. Okay, right. The first one is called as a start with n. Start with n. So now here the start with property, what it was tell us, okay, you want to decide your sequence number starts with which number. Okay, now my sequence will starts with 1 or 10 or 100 or 15 or 35 or 45 or 1 lakh, whatever it is. So from which number your sequence should be generated? That was telling by what? Start with. So it was telling what now? Starting value of a sequence. Okay, now? Right. To which value or which number you need to start your sequence. That was telling by sequence property. Say start with the property. And here, what is the mean by n, sir? Here, n is nothing but, guys, simply I want to say, here n is nothing but, okay, what does n means? Number. N means what now? Number. So which number do you want to start here? Okay. That is, start with n will be representing to us. Next one is called as what now? Min value n. So min value n, what it was saying, guys, okay, it will be specified. Okay, it specify what is your minimum value in the sequence. Understand now? Okay, what I say? To specify, okay, a minimum value in the sequence. Okay, minimum value in the sequence. So here also, what is n, sir? Here also n is nothing but number. And the next one is called as what now, guys? Here increment. Okay, increment by n. So what is your increment by n? Means that your sequence to sequence, how much increment you want to give it. Okay, so for example, my sequence starts with 1 after. How much increment you want to give? That increment you can give. Suppose my increment is 1, then 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3 plus 1, 4 plus 1, like this. That's called incrementing by n. Suppose I start with 1, my increment is given 5. 1 plus 5, 6 plus 5, 7. 11. 11 plus 5, 16. 16 plus 5, like this. Suppose are you giving increment by 10? 1 plus 10, 11 plus 2, 11 plus 10, 21 plus 10, like this. So this is what we called a incremental value. That was your defined. That means how much you want to give, you can. Okay. So that is called as a, okay, incremental value in between sequence numbers. And here also, guys, here what is n, sir? So here also n is nothing but number, how much your increment value, that give it here. And after that we have a max value n. Okay, so what it was specify here, to specify, okay, a maximum value, okay, in the sequence. Okay, now, right, here also, here n is nothing but number. What is your maximum number? Okay, so on these 4 properties, for example, guys, here if I want to take like this, okay, start with 1, if I'm giving like this, so min value 1, if I'm giving like this, increment by 1, if I give it like this, max value 3. So suppose, guys, here observe, if I was created my sequence object, these properties with these numbers, okay, if I was created like this, so can you expect, guys, here what is your output for this? Can expect what is the output for this? Start with how much? 1. Increment how much? 1. 1 plus 1, 2 plus 1, 3. So 3 plus 1 will generate or not generate? Not generated. Why, sir? Because your maximum value, how much here? 3. So that means once your sequence is reached to your maximum value, then automatically your sequence will stop. That facility automatically stop here. It doesn't go to next level or next number is not generated here. Okay. Suppose in this case, if I'm giving my max value 5 was given, then what is the next number? 5 और 4 क्या किया यार, किसको दे दिया क्या? So 4 and 5. So now your sequence numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay, so that means start with 1 and max value 5. But if I'm asking, so in the sequence numbers in this output, starting number 1, okay, and what is my minimum value in the sequence? 1 only. My minimum value is also 1 only. What is maximum value? 5. That's called a min value, max value. But here point observe. Start with 1, min value 1. What is the differences between start with and min value? Yes or no? Because here in this example, I was taken start with number 1, min value is also I was taken 1. So that means the starting 1 and minimum value also 1. But is there any difference was there in between these two properties? Okay, the question will come to you, right? Definitely. So some difference is there. The difference is what now? I will tell you, observe. So now here observe. So these are the 4 properties, how it was working. Got it now? Yes. So now here I will take here 3. Otherwise, okay, fine, no problem. Okay, next. What is the next one? Next property. No cycle. So no cycle property, what it was tell us means that, here observe. Suppose you created your example. Suppose I was taking your same example. Okay. If I'm taking same example here. In the same example, now we can see 3 I was taken. So here, what it is? No cycle. So no cycle is called as it is a default, okay, property. Okay, it is a default property of sequence object. Sequence object. It is a default property of sequence object. Okay. So now what it was happen, you can see. Suppose when we created a sequence object, okay, with no cycle. With what I say? No cycle. Okay. When I created the sequence object with no cycle, then the set of sequence numbers, okay, the sequence numbers are not repeated here, not repeated. Okay, repeated again and again. Okay, now? So here observe very important point. The no cycle means what now? It is called a default property. So default property of sequence object. And when we create a sequence object with a no cycle parameter or no cycle property, then what I said, then the set of sequence numbers are not repeated again and again. Is not repeated again and again. For example, now I created my sequence object. But tell me guys here, in the sequence object creation, I'm using any cycle? No, I'm not using any cycle. I'm not using any cycle means by default what? By default what? No cycle. Okay. So now if I design my sequence object like this, so can you expect guys here, what is your output? Start with 1, increment 1, 3. So 1, 2, 3. That's it. So 1, 2, 3, because once it is reached to maximum value, then what happened? 1, 2, 3, once it is reached to maximum value, then your sequence will be stopped. The facility will not activated, automatically stopped by your Oracle server. Okay, now, right. This is when my sequence object created with which property? No cycle. No cycle means you don't use here. Okay, now, if you don't use here means by default what now? No cycle. Okay. So this is your output for this. So that means previous example and this example both are same, because in this example also I'm not using any cycle, and here also I'm not using any cycle. So by default what? No cycle. Okay, right. But the same thing, guys, here, let me see. The next we have the next property is called as what now? Cycle. So suppose, okay, sir, suppose if I'm creating here, okay, my sequence object I'm creating with which property? Cycle property. So when we created a sequence object with cycle, okay, with cycle property, then what it was happen here? Okay, property. Then the set of sequence numbers are, okay, what you say here, not repeated we said, but here repeated again and again. Understand now? Repeated again and again. So now example, what additionally I'm adding for here? What I'm adding? Cycle. So when I was add the cycle facility, okay, the property, when I'm adding to my sequence object at the time of creation of sequence, okay, then what it was happen, you can see, guys, here. Okay, what is the output? Can you expect now? My output is what? 1, 2, next 3. So now you can carefully observe. So 1, 2, 3. That means, are you reached your sequence? Are you reached your maximum value? Yes, sir. So before what it was happened, once it was reached your maximum value, your sequence facility will be stopped, will not continue here. But here what happened? Cycle. Cycle, what it was do? Will be continue here. What it will do now? Continue. Okay, now continue. Then which number again continue? Again 1. Why, sir? Because here very important point observe. So once in the first time when the sequence is started, okay, when the sequence number is started first time, then it was starts with which number? 1. So start with value means first time started. That was 1. So increment 2, 3. But once here start with 1 and it reached to maximum value, then I can say 1 cycle completed. Start with number 2, maximum value once reached, then how the database server will be consider 1 cycle is completed successfully. So, but here the advantage of what? Cycle. Cycle, what it will do, once your numbers will reach to start with 2 max value, once it reach 2, then what it was happen, 1 cycle is completed, then second cycle will be started. But second cycle will started with which parameter, which property number? It was started with start with the or min value. Again here, once it was reaching to your maximum value, then second cycle will starts with the minimum value. Okay, not starts with the start with parameter. It will start with what? Minimum value. So minimum value, how much I was given? 1. Then again, what it will do? 1. What is increment? 2. What is increment? 3. Again, cycle completed. Yes or no? Another cycle completed. Again, the new cycle is started. Again, new cycle started with which number again? Min value. So again, what is the min value? 1. So 2 and 3. So at the first attempt, it was starts with the which parameter? Start with. From the once it was reached to your cycle, that means first cycle successfully completed. From the next onwards, it was starts with what? Min value. Start with the min value now. So it will be continue. Suppose I can say now, okay, sir, here I was given 1, it's fine. For example, in the next example, observe. In the next example, suppose I was given start with the number 3 and the max value I was given 5, but min value 1 I was given. Difference understand now? Now tell me, now first attempt, your sequence starts with which number? Which number? 3. 3 plus 1, 4 plus 1, 5. So now max value reached now. That means one cycle successfully completed. Yes. So cycle successfully completed. And later what it will do, cycle will stop or will continue? Will continue. The second cycle, new cycle again started. But the next cycle started from where it is? Min value. Understand the difference? Min value how much? 1. So now the next sequence, that means next cycle starts with 1. 1 plus 1, 2 plus 1, 3 plus 1, 4 plus 1, 5. So again cycle completed. Again new cycle, again starts with 1 only. Okay, again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, what is the differences between start with and min value? Understand now? Yes. In the first starting cycle, the number starts with the property. Once it reached to maximum value, from the second cycle onwards, your number starts with the min value. Okay, now? This is the differences here. Okay, fine. So this is what we called as a cycle property advantage. The repetition of your sequence numbers. Okay, right. So this is automatically it was happening. 1, 2, 5 reached or 1, 2, 3 reached. Okay, again 1, 2, 3, again 1, 2, 3, again 1, 2, 3. It will be like going to generate your sequence numbers. There is no limit. There is no limitations here. So it will be lifelong. It will generate that numbers. Understand now? Right. So now we can come out and see. That is cycle, no cycle difference. Next one is what now? No cache. Cache. So your cache is called, no cache is called as it is a default property. Default property of a sequence object. A sequence object. And what it was happening, you can see. Suppose when you created, so when we created a sequence object with no cache, with no cache, then the set of sequence numbers, are saved in database directly. Okay, now? Right. So here, when I was created my sequence object with no cache, with what? No cache. What it was happen, guys, here, whatever the set of sequence numbers are there, those set of sequence numbers are directly saved in database directly. So that means it was saving under database memory, it was directly saved. Okay. But here one problem is there. So whenever your sequence numbers are directly saved under database memory, then the problem is what, sir? Means here observe. So I will give some diagrammatical explanation. Carefully observe. Okay, let us see. So now guys here, observe. So what I'm saying here, this is your database. Carefully observe. So now this is my Oracle server. Oracle server. And this is my database. Okay, suppose you have an application here. This is one application to me. So carefully focus on this. This is one app or application. Okay. In this application, I'm going to create my sequence object. So let me try like this. Okay. Now shortcut I'm writing. Create sequence, my sequence name S1. Start with value 1, min value 1, increment by 1, max value, okay, 3. And now I'm not using here cache. I'm not using any cache here. So that means the sequence I'm creating with what? No cache. Here, what is the mean by cache? Cache means temporary memory. Cache means what now? Temporary memory. So can you see some, when you go to operating your mobile, some cache files are generated in your mobiles or even in system also. Yes or no? When we do some operations, working, every work related things, that some caches are automatically generated in our system. That is we called as like a wastage of files, garbage. So sometimes what happened, we are using some cleaners. In mobiles also we have some cleaners. So with the help of some cleaners, we are cleaning our mobile. In that cleaners, what it was happen, so many cache files are deleted and memory is saved to you. Yes or no? So like this here, cache is nothing but temporary memory. But in this example, can you see me? Okay, in this example, I'm not using any cache here. So that means cache memory not created here. So that's why what it was happened once I was created the sequence object, and this object when I'm using, okay, then what it was happened, for example, I'm using the sequence, okay, so insert, okay, into some sequence object I'm using here, okay, sequence 1, my sequence name is what now? S1, for example. So now when I'm using the sequence while inserting time, then what happened, every insert of a new row into your table, the row related sequence number is created. Suppose it's my first sequence starts with 1. So when you inserting data into table, okay, the sequence number is going to be saved in your database in your table, sequence number 1. Second time when I'm inserting one more record, for example, insert one more record I'm inserting now. Okay, next what happened? So next one more sequence number is generated. Here increment is what? Increment is what here? 1 plus 1, 2. 2 will come to you. If I inserted here next record into my table, insert into with the facility of sequence S1, then what happened guys here? One more sequence is generated, the sequence number 3. So it was reaching maximum value now? Yes. So my sequence will be stopped because I'm not using any cycle. Okay, it is stop it here. So now tell me, your sequence numbers which was generated here, those numbers are directly saved into my database memory. Clear now? After saving your sequence numbers into your database memory, suppose the user want to access, the user want to retrieve the data from this table based on sequence facility, then how the data will come to you, here observe. So after that, what I'm doing here, I'm going to retrieving here. That means reading. How I can read? Select star from some table T1 where sequence number is equals to 2. So this is what I'm doing here. After sequences are generated, and those sequence data saved under database memory. Then later on, if user wanted the data based on the sequence number, if I want to retrieval my data, what it was happening, you can see this request, whatever the select query request the user is sending here, this request will go to whom? First your Oracle server. So this is what now? Client request. This is what now? Client request. Client request from which? One application. One application through he was sending one request, and that query request, select query request, will go to first where? Your server. Your database server is taking your request. As per your request, which table you want it? T1. Now your server, Oracle server, will go to database memory. But in database, I have so many tables now. Yes or no? Now in our MyDB 11 AM, how many tables we created? Number of tables we created. So now in this number of tables, do you want it from which table? Test 1. So test 1 table is there or not there? Checking. Okay, I have a test 1 table also. Test 1 table is there here. Test 1 table is there here. Okay, now? Right. So now what happens? Okay, condition. What is the column name? Serial number. But serial number I applied on serial number. Which facility? Sequence facility I applied. So now on sequence facility I was applied on which column? Serial number. So that's why 1, 2, 3 numbers are generated. In which column? Serial number column. So now as per request, which serial number he wanted? 2. Then this request will be checking now. So server will go to database and next it will go to table and sequence number. So on which column you applied sequence facility, that column I was given here serial number is equals to 2. Then it was searching. Now search 1 is equals to 2. Condition true or false? False. 2 is equals to 2. Condition true or false? True. Then this condition row, wherever it is true, this true data send back to your client application. This is my client application. Understand now? So this is first time. Suppose, okay, next time the user is writing like this. Select a star from T1. So where sequence number is equals to 1. Again, what happened here? Again, this request will go to where it is? Oracle server. So server, again, it will take your user request. Again, what it will do? Based on that, it will go to database. Now, again, what it was checking? T1 table is there or not there? Checking. Okay, there. Then what it was asking? Serial number is 1. So first row, checking here again. So 1. 1 is equals to 1. Condition true. Then the data is sent back to client application. Next, for example, suppose I'm going to writing here next one. Select star from T1. So where serial number is equals to 3, I'm sending now. Again, what happened, guys, here? Again, this request will go to where? Server. Server will go to where? Database memory. T1 is there or not there? Checking. And there, now checking. 1 is equals to 3. False. 2 is equals to 3. False. 3 is equals to 3. True. Then third row, retrieval to client application. Now, here observe. In this case, what you identified? Come on, I'm showing this complete picture now. What do you identify in this? Come on, a simple logic. When I sending select a star from T1, where serial number 2, the request will go to server, server processing, sending. Second time I'm sending, that request will go to server, processing, sending. Third time I'm sending my request, the third request is also going to server, going to database, processing, sending. What do you understand? Here, how many requests I send? 3 times I send. 3 times what it was happen? The request going to server, server go to database, process, send back. Answer. Yes or no? So that means here 3 times I'm sending my request. That means the 3 requests will go to where it is? your Oracle database server. Now suppose, assume there are 1 lakh people are there. 1 lakh users are sending 1 lakh requests to your server. Then your server will process how many times? 1 lakh times, because every user request is a individual. Your request is your request, your request is your request, my request is my request. So like this, there are 1 lakh people sending that query request to server. Then 1 lakh query request, who will take? Server will take. And the 1 lakh query request purpose, server will go to process 1 lakh times. And 1 lakh times processing, finding your data, sending to user. So first user, user response. Second user response. Like how many users sending? 1 lakh users. That means how many responses? 1 lakh responses. Now tell me, now your server burden increase or decrease? Increase, huh? Sure, definitely. So in your database burden, what it was happen, guys, here? Increases. Why, sir? Why, sir, increases? Because every user request directly go to where? Database servers. Every user request, I'm telling my point. Every user request is going to where now? My Oracle server. Then my server burden increases. So that's why sometime if you go to any banking sector anyway, e-seva, me-seva, if you go, they're saying that server down, sir. Anybody listen? Server down, server down. What is the server down means? Your server burden is increased, because the lakhs of people are using same website. Lakhs of requests will go to. Sometime what happened? Server cannot manage. At the time, server will be sleep mode. It will be sleeping. Whatever it is. Every request will come here, stop here only. Response will not get. Yes or no? Sometime what happened? The request also not taken by server. That was server, because of server is shut down. Over. Okay, now. So that's what sometime. So because of reason, number of user requests will be more. Certain time period, there are lakhs of requests will come. Then server can be, what we can do? Burden will increases. In that burden, what happened? Server cannot take any request. It will be taking some pre-time. Okay, now? It will some, oh, I need some time here. Wait. I needed some time. Okay? So that kind of situation. So here also, that every user request will go to server means server cannot manage here. If managing means very difficult. That's why server burden is increased. When burden is increases, what is your response? Response will come quickly or delay responses. Relay, that is called a performance will be degraded. What it will be degraded? Performance will be fall down. Okay, because of reason, burden. Yes or no? Same thing, guys. It's not only this. Even the human being also same. When you give more pressure on human being, what happened? The person output is good or bad? Bad output will come. Yes or no? For example, are you working in IT industry? Okay, na? Your team lead will come. There are so many people are there in your department. There are 10 people are there. 10 people are working in the same department. In that you are the one of the person. But your team lead is point out you every time. Every time coming. Mr. So-and-so. Insert 100 records. First time team lead will come to you, say, Mr. Sudhakar, can you insert this 100 records into database? First time what? Employee reaction. Okay, sir. How 100 records, huh? Okay, very simple. Give me. Insert it. Second time team lead come. Mr. Sudhakar, if you don't mind, one more 100 records. Okay, sir, no problem. Give me. Inserted. Third time will come. Excuse me, Sudhakar, can you insert 100 more records? What is my reaction? First time, very happy. Okay, sir, come here. Over. Second time, okay, sir. Third time. What is this? Reaction change, na? So what happened? This person getting a pressure. Then he was shouting, "You idiot, stupid. There are 100 people sitting here, or 10 people are there, and every work is assigning to me only. I'm shouting or not?" And finally, what I did, shut down my system. I want leave. Temperature is very high. Otherwise, my mother is calling out. So why so? And even though this person, when you assigning this every work to one person only, certain period of time, the person will get a burden. Yes or no? In that burden, what you expected from that person? Well, you expected excellent performance or bad performance? Bad performance will come. So many people that doesn't understand that logic. Even though the company management people also, they cannot understand. Yes or no? They want it every day, work. But how they can work? If you wanted excellent output, yes or no? Suppose I have a company. If I'm giving freedom to my employees, then I will expect excellent output. Yes or no? If I'm giving pressure to my employees, what is the output? Otherwise, the employee is saying that, "Hey, log out this company, I will go to another company." Yes or no? So that's why the favor of employees is a very important thing to the management people. When you are the favorite to employees, employees also give favorite to you. Yes or no? That's called a boss is good. Employees also good response will come. Boss is bad, na? Employees also badly treated. Yes or no? That's a truth here in any organization. Yes or no? When our team lead is good, we are also very happy and we are also respect them. Whatever he said, we will listen and doing works. Yes or no? But he was a sadist. What happened? We also behave like a sadist. Come now. I will see you. Come now. Otherwise, tomorrow, where are you going, sir? I'm going to movie. Which theater, sir? So and so theater. Come, sir, theater. I will see that. Yes or no? So that is what. So here also, just like our database is like one server, it is also having some pressure. When you sending continuously the request to the server, what happened? Server burden is increases. So in that cases, what it was happened, the performance will be effective. The degrading your performance here. Understand my point now? Yes. So now this is what the problem of what now? No cache. So that means what I say? When we access, okay, when we access, okay, data from a table based on a sequence number, then every user request, okay, every request is going to, where it was going to, is going to database server. So that the burden on database server, is what it was happen, guys, increased and degrade the performance of what? Database. Degrade the performance of database. This kind of behavior when come to from same person with a different behavior, then it is called as what? Polymorphism. Yes or no? Polymorphism concept. When we are sending some values to the function method, both are same here. Then what happened? It will show different behaviors. Yes or no? Same as if you assigning work to the same employee again and again, then we will see different behaviors from employees. Yes or no? Polymorphism concept here. Oops concept. Okay. So this is what now, no cache problem. Okay. So that's why the people, what they will do, they will use what now? Cache n. So here I said, what is cache? Cache is nothing but, it is a what? A temporary memory. Okay. Now suppose what it was happened, you can see. So whenever I was created my sequence object, okay, whenever we created the sequence object, okay, when we created a sequence object with the cache property, then the set of sequence numbers are saved. Okay, the set of sequence numbers copy is saved in where it is, in cache memory, okay, from database. Cache memory from database. Okay. Now here observe. Then it was saving the okay. It was save the set of sequence numbers copy. Where it was saving here, in your cache memory. From where it is? From database. Now let me see. Careful observe. Careful observe. Later you can write. Observe. So again, this is my Oracle server. Okay. Now it's database now as usual. Okay, right. Now this is my user application. Suppose. Okay, fine. And in this application, okay, app or application, I'm going to create my sequence. Create sequence S1. Start with value 1. Min value 1. Increment, okay, by 1. Max value, okay, 3, for example 3. And now what I'm using, cache with a size, okay, some 2 KB size I was given, my file size. That means cache file size, how much I was given? 2 KB file. So now along with this cache, now I'm creating my sequence object. After created your sequence object successfully, and this sequence object facility I'm applying on my table. And later what it was happened, suppose your table is there. This is your table. In this table, I'm creating 2 columns I'm creating, guys. So one column name is serial number, S number, okay? And one column is some name or something. Okay, now the table is created. What is my table name now? Tester or T1 or something. So after created, what it was happened, this sequence I'm going to applying on this which column? Serial number column. Okay, so on this serial number column, I was applied which facility? Sequence facility. What is my sequence object name? S1. So after applying that, okay, fine, sir. And now I want to insert. So insert into some value I inserted. Okay, so value, for example, A, I inserted now. So now what happened? This, when you inserted this data into table, the data will go to your table first of all. Okay, and the sequence number, how much it was generate? 1 generate, because starting value. And what is the name you are inserting? A. So A I am inserting, but sequence number is automatically generated. Understand now? So 1 is okay. The second time I'm inserting here, again, one more record, insert into so-and-so and B. Again, this record is also successfully inserting into where it is here, your table. What is the sequence number next? 2. What is the name? B. But here what happened, you can see. Here, before that one point, here what I'm creating? Cache. So when I executing this sequence, when I created the sequence object I'm creating with the cache. So I forgot at this point. So first it was cache memory will be taken out. This is cache. Okay, this is cache. So now what happened? Here first record I inserted. The request will go to database and sequence number. So that means you are 1A. But what database will do? The sequence copy will be saved under cache also 1. Second record I inserted, it will be saving into here, and this copy is saved into 2 in cache. Okay, now next time what I'm using here? Insert into, now I'm passing C. Then what happened? The data will be saved into your table. What is the sequence number? 3. And what is the name? C. Okay, now, but immediately that copy is saved into cache. The cache number how much? 3. So that is what I'm saying here. While you are inserting the data into table, whatever the sequence is generated here, that every sequence generated number copy, one copy is keeping under cache memory. Okay, now? So when it was keeping like this, what is the advantage to the user as well as database server? Now we can see. Now it will be keeping like this. So every copy, this is, I can say, copy of data. Okay, now? This is copy of sequence numbers. Every copy sequence storing under cache memory also. When it was storing like this, then you have to call now. I'm calling. Select a star from so-and-so table T1. So where sequence number is equals to 2. Then what it was happen, guys, here? This request now, where it will go directly? Your cache memory. This request will go to where? Cache. Here it will be searching. And your 2, where it is 2, yes, 2 is a find out here, then it will go to send it to your client application. If next request I'm sending, next request I'm saying here 3, then again this request will go to where now? Cache memory, and finding here your requested number is there or not there, and there, then it will be sending to client application. Next, if I wanted 1, then this request will go to where now? Cache memory, and finding that value is there or not there. If it is there, then it will be sending to client. So now tell me, now your request will go to database or cache? That means your database is, burden is there or not there? So now, so that means simple case here. For example, so he was some managing director, whatever it is. The cache is called as he was assistant. Okay, na? So whenever the user request will go to managing director, we can't directly meet now. Meeting is not possible. So first, to whom you want to tell? Assistants. So every request will go to where? Assistant. Generally, this kind of situation we can see in the collector. Collector is there in district wise. So collector in below, one person is there. Yeah. Personal assistant something. So when the people, they have problems in their villages or whatever, those requests will send it to who will take the request? PA, personal assistant will take it. But they can't directly go to collector. So first they will take all the problems for the people from the village, whatever the problems are there. And later these problems are submitted to collector. Collector will be filter in that to whom you want to meet. Because collector is not possible to meet everyone now. Yes or no? Very, very important which was there. He will be contact. Otherwise, directly we can't. So here what happened? That means collector burden is reduces. Yes, same concept if you compare like this. Okay, now. So now every request will go to where now? Cache memory, and from there only your data will be picked up. And we are not going to where? Database memory. So that means what happened? Your database burden is fall down. So when database burden is decreased, performance is what? Increases. Okay, now. And now see, after your necessary data you taken out, okay, then finally what you are going to do? Are you exit from your Oracle? What are you doing? Are you exit from the Oracle? So when you exit from the Oracle, what it was happening, guys, here, careful observe. What it was happened once you exit here, your cache memory, whatever it was created under server side location, this memory, what it will do? Destroyed. This memory, what it will do? Destroyed. When you want to log out or exit from your Oracle connectivity, then what happened? This memory will be destroyed. So this memory destroyed, but your original data, where it is? In your database memory. So your data is there. Yes or no? Permanent storage. But what it is not there? Cache is not there. Because that's why cache is called as what? Temporary memory we called. Just live. Your operation in the live, your memory will be there. Once your operation is closed, this memory destroyed. That kind of memories are called as a temporary memories. Understand now? So this is advantage of cache. So that's what we want to do. When we access data from a table based on a sequence number, then every request is going to where? Where it will go to? Cache memory. Cache memory instead of, what do you say? Instead of database server or instead of database. So that the burden on database server is what it will do? Decrease. Okay, decreased. And what it will do? Degrade or improve? Improve the performance of what? Database. Concept understanding now? Yes, right on below. At the sequence object creation level, automatically created. When you use that property, if you use that property, created. If you're not using, not created. Clear? Okay, right. So now here observe. So this is cache working nature. And here what is this? N. So here N means what now? Okay. Here N is nothing but